health as defined by WHO, it involves a whole heap of elements. But there's one element that's very important, that is absent with spirituality. Health and well-being comes from inside. So the body has the capacity to heal itself. It's the interconnectivity of the human being and the environment and everything that lies within. And it's a highly sophisticated sort of a framework where it's not just looking at the physical well-being of the person.
Tala Palava, and welcome to the Upufat Mailosi podcast. I'm your host, Litara, Ieremia-Allan. We are so excited to have you here today to join us for our first episode. Ia o le whaatalo whapitoa I la tātou malo whaalo ngia I le aso, le susunga I le tamaitai for mai, le susunga I a Liomatua, Dr. Taralina Gae'e Atefi. Liomatua Dr. Taralina is a beloved former Miss Samoa who served in the year 1999, but she also holds many roles. She has a background in natural medicine and has trained in the UK as well as Australia. She is passionate about bringing back Indigenous medicine as part of alternative pathways to health for Pacific people, and she is newly appointed as the head of school for the NUS School of Medicine and is passionate about the intersections of Western and Eastern medicine as well as Indigenous medicine in Samoa. She is aiming to harmonize all those avenues through her work, and Dr. Taralina it's a joy to have you here. You are a mother, you are a sister, a daughter, a community leader, and we are so honored to have you here, Doctor. Or should I say Aunty?
Choose what you like. Thank you so much, Litara, for this wonderful opportunity. It's not often that I have such a platform to discuss these very important conversations around health, especially integrating Indigenous medicine into mainstream. But I suppose that's what we're going to talk about today, right? So thank you for having me, and thank you for the generous introduction.
Welcome. Thank you. Well, I think many people know you, Aunty, as this Miss Samoa, but as you've progressed in your career, you've served our communities through the avenue of medicine. I wonder if we could start off our session today with telling us what made you go down that pathway. What started this passion to pursue this as a calling?
Thank you, Tara. Well, I think it goes back to a young girl's dream. I suppose at the age of 11 and 12, you sit amongst the conversations of the elders, and somehow you get this this vibe that the ancestors and the elders are interested to continuing their legacy into areas like health, areas like medicine, areas like law. So I looked around the room and I thought, okay, well, there's already cousins of ours who are in medicine and law. Perhaps I should join the ones that are going towards health and medicine. It's always been my passion. It's always been my ultimate dream. But I was always thinking, will I be able to make it? I think that was always one of the things I thought about as a young girl. But I suppose, when one dreams, you put your effort into it, and somehow the universe hears you as well, and the Creator agrees along the way, and so here we are.
Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful story, and I think especially for our family, seeing our young ones. I remember at all of our family reunions, we always get people to come and present on what they've done, and I remember hearing of other cousins and other aunties and uncles and their different careers, and thinking, oh my goodness, look at the options, right?
Yes.
Look at the different options. I don't have to confine to one thing. Look at my family doing all this array of different things. So I hope people are encouraged with that today. A lot of our people in the Pacific and in Samoa, we know a lot about, a doctor as a formal career, but not many people understand what medicine entails. Mm-hmm. Would you be able to enlighten us on what the difference is between Indigenous medicine and Western medicine?
Thank you, Tara. What a beautiful question, and such a very important question at this point of time. When we look into Western medicine, it really just came about in about 200 to 300 years ago. And so it came about in the time of Industrial Revolution, where everyone was, looking at development of the world economies in very creative ways. And so there was this boost of scientific knowledge as well that really set foot in the fast progression of Western medicine. But if you go to the definition of medicine or health as defined by WHO, it involves a whole heap of elements. But there's one element that's very important, at least very much for the indigenous people, that is absent in the definition of health and medicine WHO. It's spirituality. If you go and see, there's all this description about physical health, social well-being, but there's a missing element there of spirituality. When we come to Indigenous medicine, it's a highly sophisticated sort of a framework where it's not just looking at the physical well-being of the person. Modern medicine is very physical. You need your tablets, you need to look good, you need to feel well in the body, which is wonderful, right? But for Indigenous medicine and natural medicine, it looks at all the three entities. And so it starts from the body, then to the mental, then the most highly sophisticated entity of health is spirituality. And I think that is where my passion comes in with Indigenous medicine. So, and here we are. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful topic because I think sometimes when we hear the word Indigenous, it can come with different connotation.
Absolutely.
Depending on what context you're in. Some people associate it with being a quite aggressive term. But in actual fact, it's a state of being, right?
Yes.
And so I guess, Aunty, what you're saying is that to embrace
Absolutely
this knowledge that has been passed down for generations is to understand self as well.
That is correct. Yeah. So for modern medicine, there's always this understanding that health comes from outside. So if you're unwell and unhappy, you must take something external. Good, makes sense. But in the philosophy of natural medicine or traditional medicine, health and well-being comes from inside. So the body has the capacity to heal itself. And that's a phenomenon that's been held for the last 6,000 years remember, Indigenous medicine is not just here in the Pacific, and it goes way back to the pre-biblical times, to the times of Assyrian civilizations, Egyptian civilizations, Mesopotamia, all those people. And interestingly now, modern medicine is going back and bring those concepts and those principles that were gaps in modern medicine that natural and Indigenous medicine had. Like, for example, remember the lady that came, like in the biblical story where Jesus Christ was there, and this lady came in with a very expensive perfumed oil, with her hair, and then, that's essential oils. Only now in the West they're beginning to talk about the healing properties of essential oils, but these were so much back in 6,000 years ago. So, but the modern scientific evidence is backing it up. So that's the important thing.
Absolutely. And it brings me to this quote that I see you use. The science of medicine is good, but it's art that heals.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Could you explain what does that quote mean to you?
One of the most ancient and the most well-documented, very complete system of medicine from the ancient times. It's not talked about mainly, but it's coming back. It's called Ayurveda. And this goes back to the Vedic times in India and in the East. And I got this saying from the Ayurvedic philosophy that yes, health is good if you give scientific evidence, but really what heals the person is the artistic, the creativity capacity to bring all those scientific and artistic elements to create a treatment plan for a patient. So Yeah, so it's not just science. If you see modern medicine, if it's not scientifically proven, it cannot be accepted. Well, there are lots of things you cannot measure scientifically in which the arts can speak to. So yeah, that's what it means by that.
And it reminds me when I was studying at Victoria University in Wellington, our teacher would teach us this idea of Pacific academia or Pacific ways of learning. It's interdisciplinary. So to compartmentalize is quite a Western framework, but to think of medicine in an intermingled way and a holistic health model, you find that the West is moving more towards that, but we have been doing it for centuries.
Absolutely, Tara. Absolutely. Science has just evolved into medicine to have some kind of objectivity to it, but the principles have been there for 6,000 years or so. So it's the really well-being from an Indigenous point of view is the interconnectivity of the human being and the environment and everything that lies within. And if you really look at it as well, it goes back to the laws of creation, where God made the universe and the earth and made the human being. And of course, that human being has to remain connected to the environments in which God has made. And again, that's where the philosophy of herbal medicine comes in as well, because in natural medicine, we believe that God just did not put us in the Garden of Eden for no reason. He put in there cures and treatments for health that up to now we're still trying to find. And for the records, about 40 to 60% of medications that we prescribe for patients, depending on the source you use, comes from herbs, comes from plants. So we're really trying to harmonize, all these systems together. God willing, in the future, we could use all these systems together for us.
Yeah. So we're talking kind of theoretically, right? We're talking big picture. In terms of application, one of my questions that I wrote down was often as Pacific people, when we're trying to get our health in order, it's good to talk about these things. But practically, what does it look like for Pacific people? Is it accessible to go down this pathway? Is there needed more support with education around this?
Thank you, Tara. I think in the past few decades, we've become so disconnected from our own selves, and we've been so disconnected from our own environment. And I think that's something that we have to re-educate ourselves about. That's the management and the way forward for our health is not anywhere else but here with us. So it's really taking our perspective back to our original ways. So what I mean by that is, for example, can I get into some examples?
Please.
So for example, nutrition. When I tell my patients that we have to try and make some healthy choices, then they will be very, discouraged, and they'd say, "Oh, goodness, doctor, apples are so expensive, oranges are so expensive, grapes are so." And I said, it need not to be from overseas. It need not to be fruits and expensive. Just look around the environments. We have everything that we have here in the islands. And our ancestors were able to sustain their health and their well-being just by using what we have here. It's just a matter of taking us all back to this understanding that we have what we need here. There's an understanding that if a food comes from overseas in a package, it's something very trendy to have, but if you really look at the ingredients behind those packed foods, you will find some very interesting ingredients there that are proved carcinogenics. And what that means is it causes cancer, but it doesn't cause cancer by eating one packed, I don't want to say the actual foods, by eating some today or tomorrow. you have to consistently eat it every day to cause that changes at the molecular level, and then you get cancer. So people are very, they don't know that it has a direct effect on the body by producing cancer because it takes so long. Sort of thing. But it's there. It's there. Whereas if we reach out and get that coconut, we reach out and get that mango, that V, that AC. Number one, it's free. Number two, if it's there, it's affordable. And it's part of us. It's part of our whanua, of our identity. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is amazing, Aunty. And I love these ideas, right? Because it's right there in front of us. What are some, just for those who are interested, what are some quick health, in terms of nutrition, what are some quick things that you might eat or you try to incorporate into your diet while living in Samoa?
Absolutely. Go local, go natural, go organic. That's it. Go local. One of the most fortunate things that we have here in Samoa is the fact that none of our food at this point, and I hope it will never get there, is genetically modified. So we're very, very fortunate to have access to still organic food. So I think that's just a very simple but very logical and practical approach to it. Go local, go organic. For example, for breakfast, well, why am I interested to fry bacon and fry egg? Well, it'd be good to have once in a while. So I'm not all staunch and can have it.
Yeah.
But, well, what's with kokolesa? What's wrong with that? What about kokoesi? You've got the coconut cream there. I know there's some debates among coconut cream. I could have a whole session on coconut cream on that. So yeah, all these are just within our reach. And then lunch, try as possible to get to things like luau, taro, And I think another important conversation is the ingredients that we use. So if you see the oils that we use, the very, very cheap oils are very, very pro-inflammatory, So oils like seed oils, vegetable oils. It's a commercial business sort of thing to use the vegetable as a selling. Right. But if you go into the manufacturing of these oils, you'll be amazed of what you can find in there. And then a whole heap of other things. So go local, go natural, go organic.
Yeah.
And I think, it's as simple as that. That's beautiful. So, yes. Can I share one more?
Please.
I had the privilege of meeting some an elderly gentleman who was turning 100. At the time, I had a beautiful conversation with him, and I said to him, it was someone I met along the way, and we had so I said, "Malo sifu taman." We got it talking, and then he said, "Well," he was very elderly, of course, and he said that he was turning 100, of course. And then I said, "Okay, Tama, could you please disclose some of your secrets to longevity? And you're still able to walk. You've got good physique." And he said to me, in the olden days, the reason why we call tonai on Sunday is because that was the only heavy meal for families in the olden times. It was just tonai. Whereas the whole week, it was wha'i futalo and a koko for lunch, and that's it. Or maybe, some very simple. So that's what he said. So it, again, goes back to nutrition and food and all that. So yeah, he was amazing. And he got up and walked around and went to his fe'au, and I thought, oh my goodness, God willing, if I ever make it that age, I'd love to be as mobile and as fit as him. So, but yeah, that's something I just wanted to share.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's little habits that add up, Aunty. And I think sometimes, we have skyrocketing rates of health conditions, of NCDs in the Pacific. A lot of the time we have a big push for dieting culture or big changes. But I think maybe just to encourage anyone who's watching today, what I guess you're saying, Aunty, is look at this Goinga that has shared to us that his way of lasting this long has been the little changes, the little impacts, like thinking about what we used to eat, how we used to eat.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And the interesting thing about the old man, the Toina, is that he took out from his pocket a whole packet of cigarette. And I said, so how long have you been smoking? And said, oh, for the last 60, 70 years. And I said, oh, good on you. And he said, I am so healthy that even the cigarette cannot kill me. I am so healthy. That's how lifestyle really, really boosts longevity. That even something that's been proven over and over to be carcinogenic as cigarette, it was not enough to impact his health. So I thought that was very interesting to see.
It's a beautiful example. So we've gone into the medicine, Aunty, and many of our audience today know you for your capacity in SEGA Samoa as well. But you're also the head of faculty right now. Am I correct in saying that?
You can say the head of the School of Medicine.
Head of School of Medicine. So congratulations to you for the new appointment.
Thank you.
So I guess it's a message, right, to say that we don't just wear one hat in our lives. We are, and I guess it's a message for our youth. We are capable of doing many things.
Absolutely.
So, Aunty, I guess my question is, you're working with students a lot of the time. I've done some work in student support as well. One thing that I find with people that are leaving school or thinking about leaving school to pursue tertiary education or work or polytechnic, the thing that they're most concerned about is, am I choosing the right pathway? What about these other passions that I'm passionate about? Am I ever going to be able to do all these different things? I just wondered if you have any thoughts on that, just to encourage our young ones if they're a bit concerned about choosing the wrong pathway or being passionate about many things.
Many things. Thank you, Tara. My own humble thoughts around that is find your area in which you can contribute to the progress of society and the world. Now, that's, but to me, unlike our days back then, we only had very few avenues, for our careers. Like you could even be a science student, an art student, or commerce student. But now the choices are many. We only were able to have scholarships to New Zealand, Australia, and Fiji. But look, there's many. So to have someone to come in and say, oh, not so sure what to do, sometimes that is the also impact of having too many choices as well. But on the positive side, you have no excuse to say that you were never given an opportunity. So my humble advice is just find where you want to contribute. Find your passion, because the last thing you'd like to do is do something that you were forced to do. Then works become burdensome. But if you follow something that you love, that you felt as well you were divinely guided to do, then make sure that your every day is work becomes worship, and service becomes prayer. It becomes very fulfilling for anyone. Hope that makes sense.
Oh, it's beautiful, Aunty. And I think it's a word of reassurance to our youth. It's to don't stress. God will guide you with the right pathway.
Absolutely.
And I know for me personally, I struggled with that at university, because I felt expectation, and I also felt a confusion about what avenue can I serve best in.
Yes.
And I guess my encouragement now that I'm working in the Miss Samoa role to any youth watching is trust God's timing with things.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
because His timing is perfect.
Absolutely. And I always say I do studies with some of my friends. I have mentors who guide me spiritually as well. And this is what we found, that there's a few things that really is within God's grasp. Timing belongs to God.
Yeah.
So we cannot,
As much as we don't want
as much as we want to control things, timing is mine. I want to control it. I want to do this time. This, but no, interestingly enough, timing belongs to Him. And apart from that, even outcomes of what we do belong to Him, and so do the praises belong to Him. And so these are realizations that when we leave it in His hands, then it becomes something that is just part of your journey to experience and to enjoy that journey. It's not good to have to begrudgingly take a journey. You have to enjoy, you have to feel joy, and you have to feel that you have got something to contribute to society, and God has chosen you in His own way to take that role. So value yourself, and you can do it.
Yeah. Beautiful, Auntie. Well, it's been a joy to sit on this couch with you, Auntie. I think, I know we're family, but I think for a lot of people today, I'm excited for them to see the interconnection of things. Thank you for your service towards our people, not only in the diaspora throughout the years, but now coming home. I think it's a message to those who have lived and studied overseas. If you need a sign to come home and serve, this might be it, because our people need
it. Absolutely. Our people need it. And we want to build our own capacity here in our own country. Yeah. Getting a bit emotional, but you know what I mean. Yeah. So,
and I guess for those, Auntie, on that topic, it's like, yeah, I get emotional too, because I'm thinking we spend so much time serving other communities. To what point? To what point? And I guess what I've learned moving back to Samoa is, and serving here, is it's a circular economy. It's a circular communal way of living. It's that I come home and I get to serve.
yes.
It's not that I have to. I get to serve, and in that, it comes back, which we don't always get gifted overseas. So thank you, Auntie, for contributing to all those who are listening today, but your ongoing work in the area of medicine, but also the ongoing work in believing in our youth.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think as an educator, it's one of the very special roles in that we get to uplift our youth. So thank you for being authentic in that space. It's easy to be a copycat, but to have the boldness to be authentic. Thank you for showing our youth that they can do that. Did you want to have any last words or anything that you'd like to share with the audience today?
Oh, thank you, Tara, for having me. I think maybe a message that I've always feel strongly about is that health is within our own hands. God made us into spiritual beings to have this physical experience in this world. At the same time, He gave us everything that we needed to flourish and to thrive. And therefore, it's within our reach. And it's just a matter of making some decisions. And those decisions, speaking directly to the youth, is within your own hands. Yes, it's within your own hands. Take that decision, take the first step, and move ahead. And don't look back. And always look to the heavens if we get stuck, because we all get stuck.
Yeah.
There are times when we're just going, oh, work fine. But coming from someone who's a bit older and has had some experience, never give up too soon. Keep going. And all the best with your decisions, with your careers.
Well, thank you very much. Liomatua, Dr. Taralina Gae'e Atefi. It's been a joy to share this episode with you, and we wish you all the best for your journey ahead.
Thank you, Litara. Thank you.
It has been a journey to get here, and we are so thankful to be here as a team. We have had this vision for this podcast to be a place where it encourages and it uplifts and it inspires hope. And so we want to thank all those who have partnered with us. Namely, we want to say thank you to the Australian High Commission, our friends and our family and our team over there. Thank you for believing in this project. We also want to give thanks for the support of Samoa Tourism Authority. We'd also like to thank Onomea Productions, as well as Jangle Media.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next episode.